I'm Ulal Sarkar. Welcome to the program. We begin in Washington, where the U.S. Congress remains mired in chaos after another failed attempt by Republicans to elect a Speaker of the House of Representatives. For the sixth time straight, conservative Kevin McCarthy lost his bid to lead the Republican majority in the lower house. His election is being blocked by a group of right-wing members who defied an appeal by former President Donald Trump to back McCarthy. Peter Mathews is a political analyst and a former congressional candidate for the Republican Party. He joins me now from Long Beach, California. Thank you for taking the time to speak to us. What is this really about?
That was a Democratic Party candidate at one time. Democratic Party candidate, not Republican.
Apologies for that. What is this really about?
Okay.
What is happening in the Republican Party?
I think what is happening is this extreme right wing of 20 Republicans of the Freedom Caucus. They call themselves the Freedom Caucus, one of them. And what they wanted to do is to basically reject Kevin McCarthy. They don't trust him. They think he's weak on principle, on their principles of hardcore right-wingism, and they don't want him at all. They've been bargaining with him, but not in good faith, and he cannot offer them anything that they'll accept. They rejected him, and the Speaker position is so important because the Speaker controls the legislative agenda, and the Speaker also gets to appoint committee members, have a power of appointing committee members, and committees help make the law in Congress. They have the leading role in making the law, actually. It's a very important position that's being held up right now.
So the House lawmakers are reconvening as we speak. What are their options now?
The options, looks to me like there'll be a meeting today at 8 o'clock and maybe for a little bit after that to get things ironed out among the caucus itself. But they're not going to take a vote tonight. McCarthy does not want a seventh vote. He lost 6 times. The options are that they might be able to find a compromise candidate. I don't think Kevin McCarthy will be able to become the candidate himself because he just can't get the votes. Could be a compromise candidate, or it's possible a few Republicans might actually reach out to Democrats and see if they could jointly work together on legislation, maybe even appointing a speaker. So there's a lot of different variables involved here. It's very difficult to predict it at this point.
Former President Donald Trump appealed to those hardliners to support McCarthy. That didn't seem to help. What does that tell us about his influence?
It shows that his influence has waned considerably. It's decreased, especially since he announced he was running and since he had all those losses of candidates that he nominated, that he actually endorsed during the midterm elections. They lost most of them. This shows he's been very weak even in this regard. He couldn't even get support for McCarthy to get his 218 members to vote for him. And that shows that Donald Trump is on the decline, and someone else will probably come up and be able to take his place, possibly.
Could we see a possibility here where Democrats could step in and help the Republicans get a candidate elected?
You know, theoretically, yes, but in practical terms, it's very difficult because the ideological differences are very, very large, even between moderate Republicans and Democrats. There's a big difference on what the government role should be. The Republicans want to reject most of the regulations of government. They want to do tax cuts to stimulate the economy. Democrats want to make sure their taxes are brought in, especially on the rich, to be able to come up with programs that empower people. Big differences. So it's going to be very tough for them to do that. I think in the end, they'll try to find a compromise Republican candidate that all 218, or maybe even a fewer. In some cases, if the Democrats don't vote, or many people don't vote, then the numbers go down. McCarthy could actually win with 215 votes, 214, depending on if other people abstain or vote present. And that can be worked out, possibly, might be worked out. But this is a terrible crisis because it's really hurting the American economy is really at stake right here because the debt ceiling cannot be increased and no business can take place until this is settled. As the world is wondering what's going on right now.
We are waiting on tenterhooks. Political analyst Peter Mathews, thank you so much for your insights.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.